Hello, today on my channel you will hear an amazing story about life. I hope you enjoy this story. This one struck me to the core. Honestly, I still can't forget it. Enjoy watching. Why don't you ever let me go anywhere? All my girlfriends talk about what a great club this is, and I have never gone there with them, emotionally said a young girl, Catherine, to her mother. Well, Mom, please. How long will you keep me locked up? Catherine, first of all, don't you dare talk to me like that. And secondly, about this place is too much negative written in the news, calmly replied Mom. And exams are coming up. You need to study, not go clubbing. I pay too much for your education, and I can't buy you a session too. Mom, I'm ready for the exams. I learned everything a long time ago. Please let me go with the girls. I'll be back before 11:00. I promise. No. And the subject is closed. If you want to hang out with your friends, you can invite them to our sleepover. I'm sleeping over tonight, so you'll have the whole apartment to yourself. Oh, okay. I'll think about it. Thanks, Mom. After finishing the conversation, Catherine went to her room. She picked up her phone, wondering if she should invite Lana and Angelina, her best friends. They were not ordinary girls. They were in the same class as Catherine. Their parents were big businessmen, so these girls knew their worth. How they became friends with Ekaterina, a girl from an incomplete family. A girl from an incomplete family who lives with one mother, and special income is not distinguished, is a mystery. After spinning the device in her hands, Catherine decided to write to her friends in the group chat. Hi girls, I cannot go with you to the club. Mom again turned on the mode of the boss. But I have a counter-offer. Come to my place tonight for a sleepover. Mom's on night shift, we can do whatever we want. Catherine hit the send button and waited impatiently for a reply. Much to her surprise, both girls quickly agreed to her proposal. They agreed to meet at 5 o'clock at the supermarket, buy some goodies, and drive together to Catherine's house. That's what they did, but Angelina and Lana had a slight change in their time together. Pack up, let's go to the club, Lana told Catherine when they arrived from the store. But I told you I can't. Mom is categorically against it, frightened Catherine replied. Oh, Catherine, stop already, Pajinka, pretend. If you are so afraid of your mom, we can pretend that all night we're here. Lana, I can't do that. If my mom finds out, I'm screwed. Then you stay here by yourself, Angelina intervened. And we'll go meet the boys. But we agreed, tried to object Catherine. So much bought everything. And now you leave me. In the eyes of the girl treacherously glistened tears. Okay, sorry, said Angelina, realizing that everything goes not quite as they planned with Lana. We'll all stay here and miss each other. Why bored? Objected Catherine. We can watch movies or have our own party. The girls did not argue anymore and stayed home. When it was almost 8 o'clock and all the goodies were already eaten, Angelina and Lana again tried to persuade Catherine to go to the club. This time the girl couldn't stand it and gave up. She was wildly ashamed in front of her mother, but she also did not want to lose her friends. They agreed that they would return home before midnight and pretend that all the time spent at home. At that moment, Catherine did not even guess how this trip would turn out for her. Already an hour later, the girls were on the threshold of the club. Catherine felt very insecure. She was worried about having to lie to her mother. In general, they had a complicated relationship. When Catherine was 7 years old, her father left the family and went to another woman. At first, he took part in his daughter's life, though not much. He took her on weekends for a walk, took her to the movies and cafes. But when his new family had a child, he began to see Catherine less and less often, and eventually stopped appearing at all, and even call on holidays. He, of course, continued to pay alimony, but did it purely mechanically, not wanting to have problems with the law. Mom, seeing how her daughter suffers in every possible way, tried to distract her from thoughts of her father. A year later, when Catherine was 10 years old, her mother transferred her to another school. This move favorably affected the girl's condition. New emotions and acquaintances distracted her from sad thoughts. Mom began to work more, and soon she was promoted to the head of the surgical department. After that, something changed in her character. She became more authoritarian, which affected her daughter. Catherine became afraid of her mother, afraid to say something contrary or do something wrong, as Mom said. Therefore, even now, when Catherine has long ago turned 18 years old, she still obeyed her mother. Maybe just out of habit, or maybe she was really afraid of her. And now, standing on the threshold of the club, Catherine thought that she was doing everything completely wrong. Although on the other hand, it was a completely new sensation for her. Entering the club, the girls immediately spotted a free table and rushed there. After a short persuasion, Lana and Angelina persuaded Catherine to order an alcoholic cocktail, which she had never done before. "Come on, just one drink," Lana said. "Nothing to you from it will not be, just a little relax, and then all tense as a socket. In Kefir, the degree is even higher," supported the conversation Angelina. Having drunk a cocktail, Catherine really felt a little lightness, and she was drawn to the dance floor. Angelina and Lana had never seen their friend like this, and Catherine herself did not expect such a thing from herself. Having danced enough, the girls returned to the table. "I want another drink," said Catherine. "Oh, wait, friend," Angelina laughed. "I think you, for the first time, enough." But Catherine felt the taste of freedom, and now she wanted more. In an argument with her friends, she did not notice how a handsome guy came to their table. "Hello, girls. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alex. I come to this club a lot." "I've seen you here many times," the guy said, and looked at Lana and Angelina. "This is the first time I've seen you here, and let me say that you do not look like a visitor of such places. I was very impressed with your dance. What's your name?" "I am Catherine," answered the girl, blushing. "And I'm really here for the first time. These are my friends Lana and Angelina." Alex asked permission to join them at the table. The girls willingly agreed. The young man turned out to be very cheerful and pleasant in communication. He joked a lot and made a good impression on all three girls. Closer to midnight, Lana and Angelina began to hint to Catherine that it is time to wrap up, because she needs to go home. Her mother is unlikely to appreciate her deception. Reluctantly, Catherine agreed to the arguments of friends, and they went home. They got home without adventure. Already lying in bed, Catherine realized that she could not live as before. She was very impressed by today's event, and all her thoughts were occupied only with Alex. But how to bring all this to her mother, she did not know yet. Deciding that time would tell, Catherine fell asleep. In the morning, Catherine woke up because she heard laughter coming from the kitchen. Listening, she realized that her mother had returned from work and was talking about something with Angelina and Lana. She tried to get up, but she felt dizzy. Apparently, it was a result of yesterday's trip to the club. Then Catherine decided to listen to what her mother and her friends were talking about. She strained her hearing, but only fragments of phrases came to her. The gist of the conversation was how they spent last night. The girls, they said, watched movies, discussed classmates, and did other girly things. After lying down some more, Catherine repeated her attempt to get up. This time there was no problem. After quickly changing her clothes and tidying up, she went out to the others. "Good morning, everyone," the girl smiled. "You're early today, Mom. Did you run away from work?" "It was a surprisingly quiet night," Mom replied. "No new patients came in, and the old ones were fine. So I had an unusually quiet shift." At breakfast, they talked a little more about last night. After that, the friends suggested that Catherine go shopping. At first, the girl did not agree, but her mother insisted that she would not hurt to unwind. After all, she already sits at home all the time. In the end, the three of them went to the shopping center. "How are you feeling, Rebel?" asked Angelina, looking at Catherine. "Did you like to break your inhibitions yesterday?" Catherine was a little embarrassed and blushed. "Come on," continued Angelina. seeing the reaction of her friend. So what if you left home? You are already more than 18 years old. Catherine, well, how much can you mampotaye Katerina in everything? You'll never get married. By the way, girls, what do you think of last night's boyfriend? At the mention of Alex, Catherine's heart beat faster, and in her head surfaced pleasant thoughts. I don't know, Lana answered. He seemed too clingy and cloying to me. I like more brutal guys. And you, Catherine? Guy is a guy, answered the girl, not wanting to give away his real feelings. Nothing unusual. Well, if he did not appeal to you, with a slight smirk, said Angelina, then I'll hook up with him myself. He left me his number yesterday, when you had already left. These words made Catherine's insides tighten. She was jealous and could not do anything about it. You know, girls, Catherine said, I have something of a headache after yesterday. I'm going to go for a walk outside, and you go on without me. Can I walk you home? Lana asked me sympathetically. No, it's okay. I got it. I'll see you at class tomorrow. Catherine went outside. Tears came to her eyes, and it was getting harder and harder to hold them back. She walked quickly towards the house without raising her head. On the way, the girl calmed down a little and entered the apartment in a normal state. Why are you so early? Mom was surprised. I thought you'd be back for dinner. I don't feel very well. I think I have a fever. Mom, I'm going to lie down. Do you mind? Sure. Go ahead. I'll make you some soup and tea with honey. Thank you. Mom. The rest of the day, Catherine spent lying in bed. Her mother did not bother her, and the girl could calmly think over everything that had happened. She decided that apparently it was not fate and need to stop thinking about this guy. The next day, Catherine met with friends at the institute. In vain, you left yesterday. Lana turned to Catherine. Glad for you girls, smiled Katerina in response. I had a fever yesterday, apparently overworked or cold a little. Oh, and I wrote to Alex yesterday, Angelina intervened in the conversation. We texted half the night, and today we agreed to go on a date. Girls, he's so cool. We are happy for you, laughed Lana. Right, Catherine, replied the girl, lowering her eyes into her textbook. It still hurt her to realize that the guy she liked so much had chosen her best friend. Meanwhile, Angelina and Lana continued to discuss their upcoming date. Time was running out. It would seem that everything was back to normal. But still, something was wrong. Catherine stopped reacting so violently when Angelina talked about the development of their relationship with Alex. She tried to just block her emotions and did not let them go out. But one day, everything changed dramatically. The girls met at the institute as usual. Hello, girls. Angelina said hello. Imagine I found out yesterday about Alex. It turns out that his father is the owner of an oil company. He earns more than my parents in 10 times, and after a while he will pass his business to his only son. I don't think that's a fish to be missed. And to do that, we're gonna have to get crafty. So everything seemed to be going well with you, Lana asked. Why do you have to be sneaky about anything? You don't understand. People like him never meet girls for serious intentions, just for fun. They marry whoever their parents choose, and I don't think it's gonna be me. My dad's a big shot, but I don't think Alex's dad would be interested in me as a business partner. What are you going to do? Catherine asked with a sinking heart. Listen to you. So you do not even love him. You are only interested in his money. Do not get excited, friend, sharply replied Angelina with resentment in her voice. What should I do with this love? In the restaurant on it will not eat, and dresses in the store cannot buy. The main thing is that he is handsome, and in public with him will not be ashamed to appear. And I can live without love. So what have you thought of? Impatiently interrupted Lana. What trick you decided to pull? Lana, everything is banal and old as the world. What makes a man marry a girl? That's right, her pregnancy. I'm gonna tell him I'm pregnant. Is it true? With horror in her voice, asked Catherine. No, of course not. What am I? A fool to have children at 20 years old. I'm still very young. I want to live. Not back Nagrizova at nurse. And if he doesn't believe me, or doesn't want to get married, what will you do then? Lana asked. Does not want to marry. It means that he will still support me and the child until his 3rd birthday, and then to pay alimony on him. And with the fact that he believed Catherine will help me, right, friend? How am I supposed to help you? Oh, Catherine, why are you slowing down? Your mom works at the hospital. Ask her to forge me a certificate of pregnancy. Angelina, are you crazy? You know my mom? She'd never agreed to that. Let's ask her together. I think I can talk her into it. Wait, Angelina, Lana intervened. Who is he going to support if there's really no child? Well, I hope it doesn't come to that. When we get married, I'll fake a miscarriage, and everybody's happy. And if he doesn't want to get married, then I'll have to actually get pregnant. It's a long time, isn't it? Laughed the girl. Do you think he'll keep seeing you when you tell him everything? Or how will you make children with him after that? Catherine, well, do not bore. I'll think of something, and I expect that it will not come to that. Better tell me, when are we going to your mom? Never. I will not be a part of this. It's despicable. Come on, what do you care if it's mean or not? It's my life, and I get to live it. It's not just your life. It's Alex's life, too. And possibly your unfortunate future child. Oh. Trust me, it will be the happiest baby on Lana. Angelina laughed, but at the same second became serious. Why do you care about him so much? Have you got your eye on Alex yourself? No, honey. He's mine, and don't you dare try to stop me. Catherine was unable to contain herself any longer. She was wildly offended for the guy she still loved so much. He is a free man and has the right to know the truth, and to marry whom he wants, not on whom he has to. Girls. Lana decided to intervene to lighten the mood. What are you guys doing? You found something to fight about? Wait, Lana, Angelina answered sharply. Let Catherine speak out. It turns out we have a little misunderstanding here. Speak, Catherine. I listen to you attentively. I have nothing more to say to you. But don't you dare deceive Alex. Otherwise, I'll tell him everything myself. If he wants to be with you, then he'll marry you without a child. And I'm not going to help you cheat on him. Ha ha ha, laughed Angelina. I wonder how you're going to tell him that. You don't have his number, and you can't meet him anywhere. Because your mom doesn't let you go out at night. That's when Angelina is serious. If you don't want to help me, don't. I'll do it myself. But just try to stop me. I won't leave you out of my sight. Like telling your mommy where you were that night, and what you did there and how much you drank. I think she'd like that very much. Angelina smiled evilly. Don't you dare, shouted Catherine. The girl wanted to add something else, but the words gave her a hard time. Thoughts in her head confused, and in her eyes treacherously glistened tears. Catherine ran out of the office. That's right, Angelina shouted after her. Stay away from me and my future husband. Angelina, what are you? Said Lana, who finally gained the power of speech after all that happened. With such friends, you don't need enemies. Angelina answered rudely. And what kind of friend is she to me? She's a beggar from a broken home with a crazy mom. Even her father did not want to communicate with her, who needs her at all. That was very rude, Angelina. You go feel sorry for her. Just stay out of my way, please. Both of you. Okay. Forget it. This is your fight. It's none of my business. I'm not going to quarrel with you or Catherine. That's right, smiled Angelina, and began to solve the problem with the fake certificate. Catherine ran outside. She could not hold back her tears, and they flowed down her cheeks. She walked down the street, paying no attention to anyone. Rare passers. I tried to find out what she had happened and if she needed help, but the girl did not notice them at all, automatically answering that everything was all right. At some point, when Catherine calmed down a little, she realized that she had reached the bus stop. "It's better to go home," Catherine said to herself under her breath. "I can't think of anything but Angelina right now. And talk to no one." Bitterly grinned the girl. Back home, Catherine did not immediately notice that she is not alone. "Why are you so early? You have couples celebrated?" From surprise, Catherine flinched. She did not expect to meet her mother because she had to be at work until 5 o'clock. "Mom," Catherine replied in surprise. "And why are you home?" "I have a headache and I took the day off." "So what's wrong with you?" "I also feel bad," answered Catherine, barely holding back tears. "I'm going to lie down, okay?" "Of course you do. Let me make you an appointment at our hospital. That lately you often complain about your health. I don't like it." "Don't, Mom. I think it's just the strain. You know, I'm studying for exams right now." "Okay. Go to bed. We'll come back to this question later." Catherine went to her room and closed the door. However, her mother immediately realized that something was wrong with her daughter, and it was not about health problems. The woman wanted to talk to Ekaterina, but it had to be done very carefully, so as not to destroy the already difficult relationship with her daughter. Ekaterina stayed in her room all day. She didn't even come out for dinner. Toward evening, her mother knocked cautiously in her daughter's room. "Catherine, how are you feeling? You haven't had dinner. Am I worried about you?" "It's okay, Mom. I'm not hungry." The woman cautiously entered the room. Ekaterina was lying on the bed with her legs pressed to her chest. Her mom sat down on the bed next to her daughter and stroked her head. "Catherine," carefully the woman began the conversation, "I can see that something is happening to you, and it is not at all in your health. Tell me what's wrong. Maybe together we can find a solution to the problem. Did you have a fight with your girlfriends?" At the mention of girlfriends, Catherine cried again. She did not know how to tell her mother about what happened. After all, then we'll have to tell, and that she did not listen to her that time when she went to the club. Of course, you cannot tell everything in the smallest detail, but the fact of the trip will have to disclose. But the girl was not ready for it. Catherine was silent, burying her face in the pillow. Meanwhile, her mother, not knowing how to get the truth from her daughter, decided to press her with the help of friends. "Catherine, if you do not want to tell me, then I'll call Lana or Angelina. Let them tell me what happened between you." "No," Catherine shrieked. She realized that Angelina could say a lot of unnecessary things to her mother. "Don't, Angelina." "Yes, Mom, we had a fight, and a very serious one. If you want to know what happened, I'll tell you. Angelina has turned out to be a sneaky, lying fool. She's trying to trick a guy into marrying her. And you can't do that, Mom, you know. You can't do that. She doesn't love him, and she asked me to help her fake a pregnancy certificate." "Okay, so you two are fighting over a guy, and now you're jealous that he chose her over you." "No, Mom. We did not divide him." "Catherine, but I understand everything. I was young too. I fell in love too." "No, Mom. He didn't choose between us. You didn't even have a choice. You don't let me do anything. You won't let me go anywhere. I can't have a relationship. Yeah, I met him at that club you wouldn't let me go to. But we never saw each other again." "Wait, how could you meet him at the club if you weren't there? Or am I missing something?" Catherine realized it said unnecessary in a burst of emotion, but there was no turning back. A little lowering her voice, Catherine decided to tell her mother the truth. "Mom, forgive me, but I did not listen to you that time. When we stayed with Angelina and Lana at our place, we went to the club. That's where we met Alex. I liked him right away, a kind and funny guy. And Angelina started dating him almost immediately. And now she found out that his parents are very rich and she wants to marry him. She and I had a fight about it. She and I had a fight about it. She said if I got in her way, she'd make my life unbearable. Now you know everything, Mom. Yes, daughter. You've made me very sad. I don't know how to trust you now. Mom. Catherine looked at her mom and did not know what to say. She felt guilty in front of her mom. Okay, Catherine. Let's go to dinner. Let's see what we can do about your problem. Mom understood that now Catherine desperately needed help and support. The woman was not going to leave her daughter to her fate, despite the fact that Catherine deceived her so much. It was necessary to understand what to do now, and in general, what result they want to achieve. Having cleaned herself up, Catherine went out of the room to the kitchen. Her mother was already waiting for her with dinner. Sit down. Eat first. Or because of your worries, completely starve to death. And so one skin and bones left. Catherine did not interfere with her mother. She quickly managed with dinner, and when her plate was empty, Mom put 2 mugs of tea on the table. Now let's think of a solution to your problem. But before we do, you have to promise me you won't do anything stupid again. And if I say something, you will listen to me. Catherine at first wanted to object, to say that she is not a little girl, but in time changed her mind. After all, now she really needed the support of a loved one. Okay, Mom. I know I was wrong then. I shouldn't have lied to you. Okay. Sighs. What happened? Happened. Now we're going to deal with the consequences. Tell me something. Do you have any thoughts of your own? I want to tell Alex about the meanness. I just don't know where to get his number or how to contact him. That's not a good idea. First of all, Angelina's not going to let this go. And her parents are very powerful in this town. And 2, there's no way your Alex is going to believe you. He might think you're just trying to break them up with your friend. So what am I supposed to do? How does Lana feel about this situation? Does she even know about it? She does. Angelina told both of us her plan. But I don't think Lana wants to fight with Angelina, even if she doesn't approve. So here's the deal. You go to the institute tomorrow. You make up with Angelina. You apologize. But Mom, what am I apologizing for? Don't interrupt. Listen to me first. You need to buy time to prevent Angelina from getting the certificate from someone else. So you're gonna go to her, tell her you were wrong, and you arrange for me to give her the certificate. Then you'll schedule her to see me at the hospital in 3 days on Friday. Tell her I'll do it. What's the plan, Mom? You help her, and then what? I'm not gonna help her. I'm gonna suggest to her that she get Alex to come to my office to explain the risks and complications of an abortion. I think Angelina would agree, because that would be an added proof and an advantage for her. And when they get there, I'll tell him gently. Let him decide for himself. If he loves Angelina, that's their business. Either way, you'll have nothing to do. Wait, Mom. But how can you do this kind of counseling? You're not a gynecologist. You're a surgeon. Don't worry about that. I'll arrange an appointment at our gynecologist's office. She's on vacation anyway. Mom, but what about me? Barely audible asked Catherine. What about you? You will live as before. Only friends to choose more carefully. But I love him, almost crying, girl said. So Catherine, I do not help you to help you further break your life. Understand rich guys do not choose a girl from poor families. I don't want you to suffer because he dumped you and found someone else. Then why are you helping me? Because your Angelina did not touch you anymore and let you finish the institute in peace. Catherine did not know how to react to this. On the one hand, she can save her beloved, and on the other, they are still not destined to be together. After a short reflection, Catherine still agreed with her mother. But her plans were a little different. She wanted to talk to Alex on her own anyway, and her mom didn't need to know about it at all. Okay, Mom, let's do as you say. That's a good girl. Now go to bed. You have a busy day tomorrow. Catherine hardly slept all night. She thought about how she could meet and talk to Alex, where to get his number. but nothing came to her mind. Finally, Catherine dozed off, and when she opened her eyes, it was already 7:30. There were only 15 minutes left for packing. The girl quickly dressed, grabbed a couple of cookies in the kitchen, and was about to leave when she heard her mother's voice. "Catherine, do you remember everything we talked about yesterday?" "Oh, Mom. You scared me," the girl shuddered. "Of course I remember everything. I'll make up with Angelina and send her to you." "Good for you. But let's not do anything amateurish, so that I don't have more problems to solve later." "Okay," muttered Catherine, leaving the apartment. When she came to the institute, Angelina and Lana were already there. They were sitting at a desk and discussing something. "Hello, girls," Catherine said a soft hello. "Oh, Miss Honesty is here," Angelina said wryly. "Hi, Catherine," Lana replied calmly. "Angelina, you forgive me. I was wrong yesterday. This is your life, and you decide what to do with it." "Wow," surprised Angelina. "That's quite a change. And what has affected you so much?" "Mom," simply answered Catherine. "She helped me to realize that this is not my business, and it is not for me to interfere with you. She even agreed to help you with the certificate. Come to her on Friday at 3 o'clock. She'll be waiting for you." "You're not so hopeless," Angelina laughed. "Good for your mother. At least someone can show you the way." Catherine wanted to answer, but stopped in time. She thought that she could ruin everything with this, and the whole mother's plan will go down the drain. Catherine tried several times to take Angelina's phone, under false pretenses, to look up Alex's number. But no matter how hard she tried, she failed. After class, the girls went for a walk in the park. It was pleasant spring weather outside. A light breeze was blowing, and they didn't want to go home. After a while, Angelina got a call from her parents and had to go home. Catherine and Lana were left alone. "Catherine, tell me honestly, you are thinking something," asked Lana sharply. "Well, there is no such change overnight. Are you afraid of Angelina's blackmail? Is that why you're helping her?" "Why would you think that?" surprised Catherine. "I told my mom about that night at the club. So Angelina has nothing to scare me. And my mom said that it is better to help her, so as not to spoil her life. I don't know what she's capable of. I don't believe you. Admit it. You're up to something. Catherine, I don't approve of it at all. So you can trust me. I'll even try to help you if I can." "Lana, but why go to all this trouble? She's never going to forgive us for this. Her parents are patrons of our institute. If she wants us out, they'll kick us out. Don't forget that my parents don't work in a factory either, so you don't have to worry about that." "Okay. Listen." Catherine told Lana everything she and her mom had come up with. "Good plan. Well done. As they say, the sheep are safe and the wolves are fed." "Lana, I just want to talk to Alex too. I think we had a thing going on that night at the club. Maybe I have a chance." "I don't know, Catherine. I don't know if you're going to hurt yourself." "Come on. What's the worst that can happen from a simple conversation? If I don't do it, then I'll spend the rest of my life berating myself for not at least trying." "Okay." Chuckles. "That's your right. I have an idea how to help you. You know how he said he always went to that club? He's probably still there now. Let's meet him there." "Lana, what am I going to tell my mom? I mean, she told me not to see him. And I'm not allowed to go to clubs either. Why don't you go there by yourself without me? What am I going to do there alone? And what will I tell you, Alex?" "No, Catherine. If you want to do it yourself, I'll just keep you company. And if you don't, you don't, you don't. Forget about it. That's all." "All right then. I'll see what I can do. But let's go after your mom talks to him. He might think you're just trying to get back at Angelina and won't listen to you." "Yeah, you're right. Let's do that." They talked some more about the whole situation and went home. The next 2 days passed without incident. The friends talked peacefully among themselves, and each of them waited for the fateful Friday. On the appointed day, Angelina went to the hospital to her mother. She easily found the right office and knocked on the door. "Maria, may I come in?" "Yes, Angelina, come in. I'm waiting for you." Angelina entered the office and sat down on the chair opposite the woman. "Tell me, how can I help you?" "Didn't Catherine tell you? She gave me the essence of the problem. And from you, I expect details. What is the time frame? How many children? What month should I set the tentative delivery date? Oh, I didn't even think of that. Well, give me twins. I have to be about a month along. I can't say anything about the delivery date. I don't care, just as long as it's right. Okay, Angelina, I hear you. Probably a very good guy you got if you are so fighting for him, asked Mom, filling out the certificate. Oh yes, a very good match. He's rich and good looking. You can't find such a man by day. Angelina laughed. By the way, how much will I owe you for this certificate? I don't owe you anything, smiled the woman. It's not difficult for me to help my friend. Meanwhile, Maria finished writing the certificate and handed it to Angelina. When the girl stood up and headed for the exit, the woman called her as if by accident. Wait, Angelina. Do you want us to leave your boyfriend no chance to retreat? Angelina returned to her seat and her eyes lit up. You bet. How do you do that? Bring your young man to me, and I'll explain to him that abortion is absolutely contraindicated for you. What do you say? That's a great idea. When can we come over? Let's do it tomorrow at the same time. Can't we do it today? Oh, you're fast. Let's do it tonight. I'll be here till 7:00. Okay, then I'm off to get Alex. We'll be right back. We have a date in half an hour. Angelina ran out of the office and ran to Alex's office, excited. She was there in 15 minutes and the guy was still gone. Angelina was starting to get angry when suddenly someone called out to her. Hey, gorgeous! I thought you had already forgotten and would not come. Angelina put on her lips resentfully. Well, baby, I'm sorry. There was traffic on the road. Okay, so be it, please, but for this you have to kiss me. The guy had no problem honoring her request. And I have a surprise for you, continued Angelina. Let's go quickly. Where to? You'll find out soon. And Angelina took Alex by the hand and led him to the hospital. Why did we come here? The boy asked in surprise. Now you'll find out for yourself. Come on, we need to go to the second floor. Coming to the gynecologist's office, Alex looked at Angelina in bewilderment. Angelina, what's going on? Explain it to me. But Angelina did not answer. She had already opened the office door and pulled the guy with her. Good evening, young people. Maria, Angelina began, putting aside all ceremony. You wanted to speak to the father of my children. Angelina, Alex exclaimed in surprise. What children? That's impossible. We were using protection. It happens, young man. No contraceptive does not give 100% guarantee. Why don't you have a seat? Angelina had an appointment with me today. Her test results show she's pregnant. It's not due yet, only 6 weeks. But you can already tell you're having twins. That doesn't make any sense. Alex, stop it. Angelina said angrily. Listen to what the doctor says. The development is going well, the woman continued. But I would like to talk to you, as the father of the child, about the risks for the mother. Angelina, would you give us a moment alone? It will be easier for the young man to listen to me. Yes, of course, Maria. I understand. Angelina winked at the woman and went out into the corridor. When the door closed behind the girl, her mother waited a few minutes for Angelina to step away. So, what did you want to talk about? Interrupted the silence Alex, who still did not understand what was going on. Alex, I think you're not stupid and you should understand. This whole circus was organized by your friend to make you marry her. But she couldn't think of a better way. I don't know how you feel about her, but I think you should know the truth. There's really no pregnancy. Angelina made it up. And why are you telling me this? Alex said incomprehensibly. because Angelina threatened my daughter if I didn't help her deceive you. So I had no choice but to promise her support. But it's not in my nature to deceive people. So I'm asking you to play along with me now, so I don't frame my daughter. And then you'll figure something out later. Well, thank you for the information. Can I go now? Oh, hold on. Why don't we wrap up the visit with Angelina so she doesn't figure it out? Oh, okay. Should I go get her? Yes. Just know that I'm supposed to tell you right now that Angelina's abortion is medically contraindicated. I hear you. Don't continue. Thank you. Alex got up from his chair, walked to the door, and looked out. Angelina, honey, come in, Alex said, trying to be as gentle as possible. The girl entered the office. Mom once again briefly told about possible problems, and realizing that Angelina did not suspect anything, let her visitors go. At home, Maria was waiting for Catherine, who was eager to know the details. However, her mother did not go into details, and simply said that the plan worked, and she could no longer worry about anything. Thanking her mom for her help, Catherine began to think about how she could carry out her part of the plan. Not wanting to wait another minute, Catherine pulled out her cell phone and began to type a message to Lana. Hi. My mom said she did it. Angelina thinks Alex bought her ruse. Let's decide how to proceed. A few minutes later, a reply came back. Great. Now it's up to you. We'll discuss the details tomorrow when we meet. I'm a little busy right now. A little annoyed, Catherine put the phone aside. She did not like that her friend could not give her attention now. But deciding that today, anyway, she could not do anything, the girl calmed down and went about her household chores. The next day, Catherine and Lana met in a cafe. And what are you planning to do now? Lana asked. We, with you, have already thought of everything. Let's go to the club when Mom will be on duty. There I will talk to Alex. And what exactly do you want to tell him? Catherine thought about it. She knew what she wanted to get from the conversation, but she didn't know what she would say. I don't know. Maybe that it was my mom who helped him to get rid of the dishonest girl manipulator. Are you crazy? Lana asked in bewilderment. Do you want him to think that you set this whole thing up on purpose to get him and Angelina to fight? Or to think that your mother, at your request, told on Angelina? I don't think we should mention that story at all. And what should I say then? Catherine asked sadly. After all, it turns out that we have very few common topics. Maybe it is not necessary to pretend that you came not by chance. You already know each other. Just come up and chat casually. If you're meant to be together, he'll pay attention to you. And if you're not, you don't have to try. You're probably right. My mom's working the night shift tomorrow. Then we can go to the club tomorrow. No, Catherine. No need to hurry. Maybe he hasn't broken up with Angelina yet, and then it'll all be for nothing. Let's wait until Monday and see what Angelina has to say. She'll probably share how it went. I didn't even think of that. Lana, you're a good girl. Look, what if he really loves her and decides he still wants to be with her? What then? Lana asked me out of the blue. I don't believe that. That kind of meanness is unforgivable, even to the ones you love. You shouldn't think so. Everything happens in life, all right. Don't worry about it. We'll hear from Angelina on Monday. They sat in the cafe for a while, discussed the events, and went home. The weekend passed without incident. On Monday, the girls met at the Institute. Angelina looked as usual, and Catherine could not understand whether anything had happened between them and Alex. Lana, seeing that Catherine was nervous, decided to help her friend and ask Angelina herself. Angelina, why don't you tell us how everything went? You were at Mom's on Friday. Did he believe you? Are you going to get married now? Angelina was a little taken aback by such a flood of questions. But having collected her thoughts, she began to tell. Shit, girls. It's complicated. My plan is on the rocks, and what to do I do not know. Mom told him very convincingly that if I get rid of the baby, I may not survive. And now he wants me to see their family doctor exclusively. and we're supposed to go to his clinic today. He even made an appointment for me. What am I going to say? I'm sorry, my mistake. There was no baby. It was a joke. Happy April Fool's Day, darling. Is that it? He's not going to forgive me for this. Girls, what am I going to do? Angelina, maybe it'll be okay. Tell him you can't go out tonight. Tell him your parents have something important to do. I tried. He says they're his kids too, and I can't risk their lives. Wait, why do you say children? You have a lot of them or something, giggled Catherine. 'Cause I asked your mom to point out that I have twins. For more effect. Yes, Angelina, I don't envy you. After class, Angelina got a call from Alex. Lana and Catherine heard only a fragment of the conversation, but it was clear to them that they had a big fight. Angelina refused to go with Alex to the clinic, referring to the business and the fact that she has the right to dispose of her body herself. And after the response of the guy, the girl generally sent him to hell and said that she did not want to have anything to do with him, and he did not see these children. Friends were extremely surprised by such behavior, Angelina, but did not interfere. They decided that it was only to their advantage, because Alex is almost free, and it is possible to proceed to the realization of their plan. Going to the club was planned for Wednesday, when Mom would go on duty. On the appointed day, the girls met at the entrance. When they went inside, it turned out that all the tables were occupied and they had to take a seat at the bar. Taking a cocktail each, the girls looked around. Do you see him? Catherine asked her friend. Not yet, but I do not remember what he looks like. And there are a lot of people here today. I also do not see yet. Okay, let's wait. The girls sat in the club for 2 hours. During this time, they had time to dance, to go out into the air several times, to scrutinize all the guests. But the one they needed didn't show up. After another half hour, Lana informed Catherine that she couldn't be here anymore. She needed to go home. She offered to come to her friend another time. But Catherine, afraid that again she would have to deceive her mother, did not agree. She tried to persuade Lana to stay, but the girl was adamant. In the end, they parted. Lana went home, and Catherine stayed waiting. Close to midnight, her waiting was rewarded. She noticed Alex entering the club in the company of other guys. Gathering her courage, Catherine approached the guy. Hi, she started the conversation. Hi, replied the guy with a smile. And I think I've met you somewhere before. Oh yes, you came here with Angelina. After saying that, the guy's face changed dramatically. You want to talk to me about your friend? It's not worth it. I know she cheated on me with the baby. I know she doesn't love me. She loves my money. Or rather, my parents' money. Wait. I don't care about you and Angelina. I was here with a friend, but she'd already left, leaving me alone. Then I saw a familiar face and decided to say hello, said Catherine. In her heart, the girl was very glad that Alex did not want to know Angelina anymore and was not going to reconcile with her. Well, in that case, you can join me and the guys. You don't mind, do you? Alex asked, looking at his friends. They agreed, and they all went to the table together. Everything was going as well as possible. Catherine was having fun with Alex and his friends. All the guys turned out to be cheerful and very sociable. When the girl got ready to go home, the clock showed 3 o'clock in the morning. There was no limit to her happiness when Alex volunteered to give her a ride home. When his car pulled up in front of the driveway, he suggested, "Would you like to meet sometime during the daylight hours? But you just broke up with Angelina, didn't you?" Catherine replied, trying to look like a decent girl, despite the fact that everything inside of her was rumbling. "Don't you think it's wrong?" "Well, that's for me to decide. I'm not the one who cheated and left her. She's the one who made up the baby and then told me to go to hell. And there was nothing serious between us. She was only interested in money, and you're not like that. At least I don't think so." "Thank you," shyly smiled Catherine. "Call me." She quickly wrote his number on a piece of paper and jumped out of the car, afraid to give away her jubilation. At home, the girl quickly bathed and went to bed. A few minutes later, she received a message from an unfamiliar number. "Thanks for the evening. Beautiful. Good night." Not believing in the reality of what was happening, Catherine pinched herself. Feeling a burning pain in that place, she reread the message once more. Then another and another. Soon the girl plunged into dreams and unnoticeably fell asleep. Waking up in the morning, Catherine looked at the clock and realized with horror that she was late for the first couple. And the worst thing is that in 20 minutes her mother should come, who is unlikely to appreciate her lateness. Quickly putting herself in order, Ekaterina ran out of the house. She got to the institute only to the second pair. The girl, out of breath, ran into the classroom, where Angelina and Lana something heatedly discussed. Seeing Catherine, the girls looked at her with surprise. "It's the first time I've seen you skip a class," Angelina said without greeting. "Where were you? Tell me." "Angelina, come on." Lana tried to change the subject. "You and I have more important things to do. You, Catherine, by the way, sit down too. Gillian gave me the assignment to develop a business project. It will be necessary to report on the next pair." Catherine nodded her head gratefully to Lana and joined the work. But 5 minutes later, she was distracted by the sound of an incoming message. "Good morning, beautiful girl. I hope you didn't oversleep today because of our late-night adventure." After reading the text, Catherine involuntarily smiled and her cheeks were covered with a slight blush. Noticing this, Lana immediately guessed who sent Catherine the message. Angelina, on the contrary, became very curious. "Come on, tell me who wrote to you that you're all flushed." "No reason. Guy. I met him yesterday." "I wonder where," laughed Angelina. "In the library." "You don't go anywhere." "In a cafe," simply answered Catherine. "He sat at my table when I was waiting there for my mother." "And what is the name of this daredevil?" "His name," Catherine was a little confused, but, noticing the portrait of the famous economist Smith above the door, answered. "His name is Adam." How? Is that a joke?" Angelina burst out laughing so hard that tears came to her eyes. "It's no joke. He's not from around here. His grandfather was an Englishman, and he got his name just in honor of him," Catherine quickly realized. Catherine told a little more about her fictitious boyfriend, and soon the friends lost interest in this topic, again engaged in drafting. Time passed. Catherine and Alex began to meet periodically. It seemed that here, the girl's dream finally came true, and now she is the happiest on the land. But in life does not happen all so smoothly. Sometimes there are difficulties, which are not expected at all. Since then, Catherine began to see Alex often. They walked in the park, went to the movies. The guy repeatedly invited her to a nice, expensive restaurant, but Catherine did not agree. She did not want to seem to him greedy and mercantile. The guy always laughed at this, but did not insist. Alex had not yet met such a girl. He saw that she was not interested in his money, felt that she loved him, but the same couldn't be said for him. He was interested in Catherine. It was unusual and even new sensations. But he did not love her. Nevertheless, the girl was happy next to him. Deep down, she understood and felt that the guy did not have the same strong feelings for her that she had. But she headed away all doubts, hoping that someday everything would change and she would be able to take a special place in his heart. The mother noticed a change in her daughter's behavior. The girl became softer, more sociable, and often smiled. The mother tried to find out what had happened in her daughter's life. Not wanting to lie, Catherine told her mom the truth, but not the whole truth. The girl came up with another guy. She said that she met at the institute with a graduate student who was interning in their group, and they sometimes meet with him. Her mom didn't approve of such a teacher. Student relationship, but decided that now it would help her daughter get her mind off Alex and not do something stupid. After all, it was the lesser of evils, Mom thought, but the relationship with her friends at the institute became complicated. Angelina had changed completely. She began to overreact to everything that happened. At any failure, she began to placate Irina and then complained to Catherine and Lana about her problems. Catherine was annoyed by this change in Angelina. Lana, on the contrary, wanted to help her friend, thinking that the breakup with Alex had affected her. 2 weeks later, Angelina completely disappeared from the institute. Lana was worried about her friend, shared her worries with Catherine. But she didn't care. She was only glad to take a break from whining. Catherine, what if something happened to her? I think Angelina's having a nervous breakdown over a failed plan. Oh, come on. She's not going to be that stressed out about a failed project. This one didn't work out. She'll do another one. What if she did love him? Lana, please don't. You know I'm dating Alex now. And by the way, we're doing great. Catherine, of course, I'm happy for you. But I'm truly sorry for Angelina, too. I'll probably go to her house tonight. Maybe she needs some help. Would you like to join me? I'm sorry, Lana, but no. I can't tonight. Alex took me someplace special. Suit yourself. That evening, Catherine went on a date with Alex. It turned out that he took her to his favorite restaurant. Catherine started to resist, but the guy convinced her, and they sat down at a table. Everything was like in a fairy tale. Catherine felt like a princess in the palace. Rich furnishings, sumptuous dishes, gallant waiters. The evening was passing unusually. But one moment changed everything. Angelina ran up to their table. Catherine could not immediately recognize her friend. She looked terrible. Hair disheveled, mascara smeared under the eyes, clothes wrinkled and put on neatly. She also smelled like alcohol. Angelina took a chair from a neighboring table and sat down with Catherine and Alex. I knew I'd find you here. You don't answer my calls. You don't read my messages. What? Are you afraid of responsibility? Angelina, what do you want? I think we've made up our minds. Go home and sleep it off. We have nothing to talk to you about. And you, Angelina, was talking to Catherine. That's what kind of friend you are. You took advantage of my weakness and stole my boyfriend. Angelina, stop it. I didn't steal anyone from you. If you remember, you're the one who dumped Alex. And you just gave up on your kid like that. You told me how worried you were about him, how you wanted me to see your personal doctor. Stop it. I know everything. I know there's no baby, and there never was. That's what your doctor told me back then. Oh, that's what it is. Catherine put her mom in charge of setting me up. What are you doing to improve your wealth? At the expense of a naive rich kid. What are you talking about? Alex intervened. You're obviously out of your mind. Go get some sleep, I'm telling you. And you are so easy to fool, grinned Angelina. Do you even know who her mother is? No. What do I care? I only know that Catherine is a good and honest girl, unlike you. Of course she is. You and I went to see her mom at the hospital. Why are your eyes down? You're ashamed, right? Rhinocito turns out to be in a cannon. Catherine, is it true? Calmly asked Alex, looking at Catherine. Not really. My mom really works in that hospital, but as a surgeon, not a gynecologist. And she helped Angelina forge the certificate to lure you in and tell you that it was all a fraud. That's where all her honesty ended. Okay, Angelina. Maybe Catherine didn't tell me she was helping you, but I think she was trying to warn me. But what do you want from me? I want nothing to do with you. You're wrong about that. You think I was just looking for you. You and I do have something in common. I wanted to tell you that I've agreed to go to your clinic for a checkup. Because we're having a baby anyway. Whether you want it or not, you're not going anywhere from me now. And you, Catherine, you can go to all four sides. And you can go to all four sides. And you cannot show up at the institute. I warned you not to interfere with me. Angelina, stop this circus. You expect me to believe you after what you've done. You cannot believe. Only in 6 months your child will be born, and then you will have nowhere to go. On the face of Angelina appeared unpleasant smirk. Catherine couldn't listen to this anymore. Jumping up from her chair, she rushed away from the restaurant. Alex, on the other hand, stayed where he was. He kept looking at Angelina, trying to figure out if she was telling the truth, or if she was making it up again to get him to be with her. Angelina was also silent. She realized that she had managed to hook Alex and eliminate her rival. After a few minutes, the guy got up from his seat, and after throwing some bills on the table, he took Angelina under his arm to lead her out of the restaurant. He put the girl in the car and silently got behind the wheel and drove off. "Where are you taking me?" "To the clinic. I won't let you deceive me anymore," the boy answered briefly. They were there in 20 minutes. Angelina obediently followed Alex to the right room, because now she had nothing to hide. She was 100% sure of her diagnosis. Meanwhile, Catherine returned home. Fortunately, her mother was not at home. The girl took a shower, trying to wash away all this shame and injustice. She wanted to tell someone everything, to share her feelings. The most suitable for this role was Lana, who just sent Catherine a message. "I was at Angelina's. She hasn't been home for 3 days. Her parents are worried. What are we going to do?" Thinking briefly, Catherine typed back, "We're not going to do anything. She broke up our date with Alex today. Says she's really pregnant." Ekaterina told Lana all the details of today's incident, mentioning also that the girl threatened her again with problems at the institute. Lena listened to her friend carefully. She was very surprised by what was happening, although her condition in the last month was now quite explainable by her real pregnancy. Lena promised Catherine to think about how to help her in this situation, but she warned her that she should forget about Alex if she wanted to finish the institute in peace. Alex decided that if Angelina was lying, then once in the clinic she would lose her confidence, get nervous and sly again. But the girl was completely calm. She entered the doctor's office with Alex. It turned out to be a man in his 50s, which did not embarrass Angelina in the least. "Hello, John. I called you the other day about my girlfriend's pregnancy. I was wondering if you could do some research. And also to establish paternity." The man looked at Angelina with mixed emotions. Her unkempt appearance and the still present odor of alcohol caused unpleasant feelings in the man. However, he was not used to arguing with customers. They were usually important people with a lot of money. "Yes, Alex, I remember. Come on in. I'm going to write you a referral for an ultrasound. Go to room 202. They'll do it now. And then tomorrow morning, you'll come in for a blood test on an empty stomach. And I would not recommend you to drink alcohol in your position." A little embarrassed, said the doctor. The man wrote out a referral and sent Angelina to the ultrasound room. "I'll go with her," Alex answered confidently. "I want to be sure that Angelina is pregnant. By all means, you will catch up with her. But now, let me leave you a few words." Alex looked at Angelina with disbelief, thought something over in his head, and then he said, "Okay, go to the office, but wait for me outside. I'll catch up with you." Angelina nodded indifferently and went out. Alex couldn't get rid of the obsessive feeling of déjà vu. Only now, instead of a strange woman doctor, was their family gynecologist, in whom the guy was sure because his grandmothers, mother and sister, had been going to him for 20 years. "Alex, listen to me carefully now. I want to warn you. Even though our clinic has state-of-the-art equipment, taking material from a baby is a very risky procedure for the fetus. There's a slight possibility of problems with your wife's pregnancy. She's not my spouse. I doubt it's my baby at all. Angelina and I haven't seen each other in about 2 months. And when we did, it's important to me. But I don't want to risk the baby's life, so I'm willing to wait until it's born. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go to the ultrasound room." "I'm glad you heard me." Alex left the doctor's office and followed Angelina. She obediently waited for him in front of the door. "Are you ready?" "Yes," Angelina answered briefly. The sonographer confirmed that Angelina was pregnant. By all indications, the due date was 11 or 12 weeks. The baby was developing well, and there were no surprises. Having finished with the paperwork, Alex and Angelina left the clinic. Getting into the car, the guy started talking. Here's the deal. Now I will not risk the life of this child, but when he was born, I will conduct an examination. And if it's not my baby, you'll answer for it. Is that clear? It couldn't be clearer. I just don't have any other options. Well, we'll see about that. When's the wedding date? Angelina asked after a while. What wedding? I'm not going to marry you. If it's my baby, I'll support it. But I'm certainly not going to marry you. Why not? Because I don't want a wife like you. Sneaky and cunning. Well, you've got it all worked out for you, don't you? I won't let you use me. Oh, then I'm not good enough for you. And who do you want? That ragamuffin Catherine? Shut up. This has nothing to do with you. How dare you yell at me? You've ruined my whole life. Why should I have a child at 22? I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't had time for anything. And you refuse to marry me. Who's gonna want me with some stranger's baby in my arms? I hate you. I don't want that freak. I don't want him. I don't want it. Angelina screamed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Alex stopped the car, turned around, and told her in a calm and firm voice, although a storm of emotions was raging inside him. It's like this. You calm down now, clean yourself up, and don't say any more of this nonsense. If you don't want this baby, I'll take him and you'll never hear from us again. Just please bring him out normally. No surprises. Angelina was a little sobered by Alex's speech. She stopped crying. Take me home, she said quietly. When they drove up to the house, the girl silently got out and headed for the front door. She was met at home by her worried parents. They tried to find out what had happened to their daughter, but she said that she was very tired and asked to wait with questions until tomorrow. Angelina briefly assured her parents that she was fine, that she had been at her friend's house all these days, and that she'd been worried sick about the fight with Alex. But now everything was fine, and she wouldn't do it again. After that, the girl went up to her room and fell into sleep. In the morning, Angelina woke up with a heavy head. Unpleasant memories of last night surfaced in her mind. The girl sat on the bed and lowered her head, resting it in her palms. I'm such a fool, Angelina muttered quietly. Why did I do all this in the first place? Why do I need this child? And most importantly, how to tell my parents about it? They will throw me out of the house and cut me out of the will. And not to say, so themselves guess, soon the belly will start to stick out. After these words, the girl involuntarily looked at her stomach. What if the doctors were wrong? She continued her monologue. Suddenly, I can go on living my usual quiet life. And if they are right, what now? Alex made it clear that I will not be his wife. And fuck him, Angelina said much louder. At that moment, her mother entered the room. Daughter, are you all right? I heard some noise from your room. I'm fine, Mom, answered the girl, trying to smile. I'm just tired. Exams are coming up. And then there are these relationship problems. I don't want any of it. I don't want anything at all. Angelina, I don't recognize you. You were always such a fighter. And now you've given up at the first hurdle. And you're just starting out in life. After the institute, you'll start working, where no one will feel sorry for you either. It'll probably be even harder. So what now? Do nothing. Sit on the neck of my dad and me and then my husband. And don't worry about relationships either. There's plenty of good guys out there besides Alex. They're not thinking about the right things at that age. Forget him and move on. And then you'll see. You'll have a husband. You'll have kids. At the mere mention of children, the girl's heart raced and her palms sweated. I don't want children. Mom, it's too early for me to have kids. Angelina, that's what I'm telling you. That you'll graduate, find a job, get married, and then, when you're ready, have children. Mom, what if I do it the other way around? Children first, then everything else? The woman responded to that question with a completely different tone. No, Angelina, don't give me that. That's not how Dad and I raised you. So don't even think about it. Bring in a hem, and even without a husband, I'll arrange a paradise life for you. With these words, Mom got up and left the room. In general, she was very kind and gentle. But when it came to children, she was always of the opinion that they should be born only in marriage and only by mutual consent. Angelina, however, remained seated in her room. Her mother's words finally convinced her that her parents would not accept her child and something had to be done. But what? She was pulled out of her thoughts by the sound of an incoming message. It was Alex. I'll meet you out front in 15 minutes. We need to talk. The girl realized that she didn't have much of a choice. So she quickly cleaned herself up and jumped out of the house unnoticed by her parents. She jumped into the guy's car and asked him to drive farther away. When they were a decent distance from Angelina's house, Alex parked the car and started talking. Okay, Angelina, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've been thinking about this situation all night, and I've come up with the following. You and I will make a contract according to which you will have to bear a child and give it to me, giving up all rights. What's in it for me? I'll pay you a good sum of money after the birth and support you during the pregnancy. What will I tell my parents? They'd kill me for it. If you want, I'll rent you a place in a neighboring town. You can tell your parents that you've been invited to a good job with a big salary. You can stay there later if you want. There's a branch of my dad's firm there. I'll make a deal. They'll set you up. I'll pay for your apartment for the duration of your pregnancy. Then you can do it on your own with a salary. What about the institute? I have exams coming up. In 2 months, to be exact. When you graduate, you'll go. You won't change much in the meantime. I consulted John about it. He said you're built so you won't have a big belly. You'll just choose less tight clothes, and no one will realize it. Did you ever think I might have other signs, like toxicity? So we'll think of something else. You leave town now and come back in time for the exam. You'll say it's an internship. Suppose so. So what do I get in return? I'll pay you $50,000 a month in salary. Besides, like I said, I'll pay for your housing, groceries, and all the necessary procedures. And after the baby is born, I'll pay you another $2 million. Agreed? 3.5. You're really something. All right. But you'll sign all the necessary papers. And no more drinking and other nonsense. And if I'm not the father of the child, the contract will be canceled and you'll pay all the costs. Deal? Angelina grinned, not doubting Alex's paternity. Now let's go to the clinic to take the tests. After taking all the tests, Alex took Angelina to the institute. Lana and Catherine were already there. When Angelina entered the classroom, both girls looked at her, trying to guess what mood she was in. The day before, Lana had suggested that Catherine not do anything until Angelina did something about it. They had agreed to discuss the situation with her first and explain that Catherine had nothing to do with it. Catching the glances of her friends, Angelina proudly raised her head and approached them. "Hello, everyone," Angelina said with a smile. Catherine and Lana were a little surprised at this mood of the girl. They did not know what to expect and what game she was up to. But still, both girls, also good, naturedly said hello. "And you know, Catherine, I'm even grateful to you that everything turned out this way. Thanks to you, I'll have a good job and my own place and no problems. And you can have Alex for yourself, if he wants to hang out with you after what you've done. And if you want to raise someone else's child instead of a free life." "Angelina, what are you talking about?" Lena asked. "He refused to marry you." "No way. I gave up on the idea myself," Angelina lied. "Why would I want someone who, at the first difficulty, would run and seek comfort in someone else's bed? But he begged me to give birth and give him the child. He even agreed to all my terms. And you just give up on him?" Catherine was surprised. "You are his mother. Think about it. Why do I need it? I want to live. Normal, full-fledged life. I don't want to raise a little brat. If his daddy wants to take care of him, let him buy that right. What are you? Catherine could not find the words to describe what she now felt about Angelina. Well, what? Mean and cruel. But you are honest and soft, laughed Angelina. I don't advise you to quarrel with me now. So be it, I forgive you. Finish your studies in peace, but don't meddle in my life anymore. Understand? Yes, briefly answered Catherine. I also believe that everyone can dispose of their own lives, supported Lana, trying to defuse the atmosphere. It's good that everyone agrees with it. The girls did not return to this question. Angelina decided to prepare her parents for her move. She kept telling them that she was invited to an internship in a reputable firm. But for this, she would have to move to another city. At first, parents took this information skeptically. But when Angelina announced the terms of work, they agreed that this is a very good start to a career, even if you have to move. Time passed, and to Angelina's delight, she did not feel any unpleasant symptoms of pregnancy, except for a constant feeling of hunger. The girl showed herself to the doctor once every 2 weeks and followed all the recommendations. Her belly slowly increased, but Angelina skillfully hid it under large, loose t-shirts and dresses. Alex and Catherine stopped communicating at this time. He did not know how he felt about her and how he could treat her now, and Catherine was afraid to write to him first. She was afraid to write to him first. She was afraid to be rejected, so she did not dare to dot all the dots over and above in their relationship. So 2 months flew by. The girls successfully passed their exams and received their diplomas. Alex, as promised, Alex took Angelina to another city, having arranged it there in his father's firm as an analyst. To his surprise, after a week of free life in a foreign city, Angelina asked to work for real, and she was quite good at it. The team accepted the girl quickly and always tried to help. Angelina herself was also surprised by such a change in her character. Apparently, it was hormones. Lana stayed in her hometown and got a job in the firm of her parents. She offered Catherine to go to work with her, but she refused. Memories of their, albeit not long but still so bright, affair with Alex constantly depressed her. So the girl decided to go to the big city, which was a few thousand kilometers away, and start life with a clean slate. Mom, of course, was against it. She did not want to let her daughter go so far away, afraid to lose control over her, afraid that her little girl would ruin her life by getting involved with a bad man. But this time, Mom's entreaties and even prohibitions Catherine left aside. She firmly decided, packed her things, and, explaining to her mother that she could make her own decisions, went to the train station. Catherine got off the train and breathed in the warm summer air. It was completely different, not like at home. The girl felt the spirit of freedom, which gave her strength. It was necessary to develop a plan of action. First, Catherine needed to find a place to live. On the road, she looked through several ads for rooms for rent and stopped at one of them. The room was rented by an elderly woman in a 2-room apartment, not far from the city center, for only $7,000 a month. But in addition, she asked for a little help around the house. Katerina was very excited about this opportunity. She had with her a small cash reserve, which she had managed to accumulate over several years. In the summer, she worked as a consultant in a cell phone store and also saved some of the pocket money that her mother gave her. Now the girl's account was about $50,000. Katerina arrived at the right address. The door was opened by a nice-looking woman in her 70s. "Hello, I called you yesterday about the room." "You, Catherine?" the woman clarified. "Yes, it's me," smiled Catherine. "Come in, I'll show you your room." Catherine entered the room. There was a sofa, a table, and a small TV. The girl was surprised by the good repair, which had obviously been done recently. "Well, does it suit you?" Yes, it does," Catherine replied happily. The landlady left her to unpack and went to the kitchen to cook something. An hour later, the smell of apple pie with cinnamon reached her nose. There was a quiet knock at the door. "Catherine, let's go to tea." I begged to Charlotte. In a few minutes they were already sitting at the table telling each other about their lives. The landlady's name was Alice. Catherine immediately penetrated to her some warm feeling. It turned out that the woman had a very hard fate, and there was no one left of relatives. Her son and her grandson were killed in a car accident 15 years ago. The man failed to control himself and drove into the oncoming lane. He died on the spot, and the child was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Doctors fought for his life for more than 10 hours, but everything was in vain. Alice's sister-in-law, having learned about what happened, could not survive such grief. Sometime later, she took a lethal dose of sleeping pills, and 5 years ago, Alice's husband passed away. At the end of the story, Catherine could no longer hold back tears. She was truly sorry for the woman. "Well, I coped, as you can see live on. Tell me more about yourself, how you found yourself in our city. I understood that you are not from here. Have you come from far away?" After drinking some tea, Catherine told Alice everything about her life, about how her father abandoned her very young, how her mother kept her in urchin mittens all the time, how she fell in love with a guy and her best friend started dating him, wanted to tie him to himself with a child, and then it turned out that she actually got pregnant by him. And now Catherine has run away from her past life in search of happiness. This conversation brought them very close together. Catherine felt that she had found a kindred spirit on whom she could rely in a difficult moment. After telling her story, the girl felt much easier. The past, as if let her go and was no longer a heavy burden. A week later, Catherine found a job in a good company. Only now there were no vacancies for analysts and economists, so she got a job as a secretary. There were a lot of duties, and the pay was not as she would have liked. But Ekaterina realized that without work experience, she was unlikely to find something more worthwhile. And so there is an opportunity to study the activities of the company, to join the team, and when a vacancy appears, to get a promotion. And so it happened. Ekaterina worked hard in her place, often stayed overtime without asking for a raise in salary. The manager appreciated such zeal of the girl, and in 6 months offered her a position of junior analyst. However, even here the girl did not relax and worked hard, exceeding the plan. Gradually, Ekaterina rose to the position of Deputy Director for Economics. She began to receive a solid salary and could even afford to take an apartment in the mortgage. But she did not want to leave Alice. During this time, she became so accustomed to her that she perceived the woman as her own grandmother. Alice also loved Catherine with all her heart and was very afraid that she would decide to move away from her. But in the personal life of Catherine was not all so smooth. One colleague at first gave her signs of attention, but Catherine was so enthusiastic about her career that she did not pay any attention to it, and now that the girl held a high post, colleagues did not dare to approach her. And nowhere else, she did not go, although Catherine herself, and it did not upset. Now, she had everything she dreamed of. A good position with a high salary, a cozy room in the center of a large city, and a beloved grandmother who was always ready to listen and come to the rescue. Even the relationship with her mother became much warmer. They often called each other. Catherine told her mother about her successes, and the latter in turn was very proud of her daughter and happy that she chose the right path. Angelina continued to work in the company where Alex had arranged for her. She liked this work, liked the team. The director was pleased with the appearance of such an employee because with her appearance the firm's business improved markedly. They managed to attract new clients and find all the extra expenses. But the head was very upset by the fact that Angelina would soon go on maternity leave, because he could not assume that she would go to work after childbirth. So passed another 4 months. Angelina's pregnancy proceeded without complications, and very soon she was to give birth. Recently, the girl often thought about the future child, about whether she was doing the right thing. But every time she came to the conclusion that she was not ready to be a mother. She would not be able to give the child the necessary care and love. For the same reason, she still didn't know whether she was carrying a boy or a girl. Angelina didn't want to get attached to this baby. When it was time to go on maternity leave, Angelina asked to stay at work at least for another month. But the doctors and Alex insisted that it would be better for the baby if the girl would be away from computers and have more rest. She eventually gave in and went on vacation. Angelina was admitted to the hospital for observation a week before the scheduled delivery date. Everything went right on schedule. And on the due date, Angelina gave birth. The labor went pretty quickly and easily. "It's a boy," the midwife smiled. "I don't care," Angelina replied quietly, tears running down her cheeks. The midwife did not insist on talking to Angelina. In her practice, she had seen many cases of women who were depressed after childbirth and did not want to see their children. Angelina asked to take the baby straight to the pediatric ward. When she was transferred to the ward, the nurse tried again to offer the girl to pick up and feed the baby. "Look," Angelina said, trying to keep her cool. "I don't want to see this baby. I'm not going to feed him. Just make him feel good, and I'll pay you for it." "But he needs his mom." The nurse tried to object. "Artificial formula won't give him the substances he needs." "That's enough." Angelina raised her voice, barely restraining herself from shouting. "I've said it all. I'm not ready to be a mother, and please don't tell me about him again." 3 days later, Angelina and the baby were discharged from the hospital. Alex came to meet them. He handed Angelina a huge bouquet of flowers, and he himself received his son from the nurses. Now, when he saw this baby for the first time, he had no doubt that it was his son. Carefully putting him into the car seat he had bought beforehand, Alex helped Angelina to sit down. She was silent for a long time, gathering her thoughts. And when they drove up to the house, she finally spoke. "Alex, listen to me, please, and don't interrupt me. I've been thinking about our agreement for a long time. I don't want money for the baby. All I'm asking is that you keep me in this job. It's not the boy's fault he was born to a mother like that, but I can't help it. I'm not ready for this, and I can't give this child what it needs. I beg you, take care of him. Find him a decent mom." Angelina stopped talking and turned away from the window. Tears ran down her cheeks again. Alex was very surprised by such changes in the girl's character. He could not imagine that this calculating and cunning girl, who had never seen anyone but herself before, now asked him to take care of the child. "Angelina," Alex called softly, "maybe you want to visit him sometimes. You'll get used to him." "I beg you don't. Let's just leave it at that, that's all, and forget this story." Alex didn't insist. He promised Angelina to leave her at work and not to bother her anymore. And he went home with the baby, where the nanny, whom he had invited in advance, was waiting for him. 2 weeks later, Angelina went to work. Her colleagues were surprised, but they did not get into her soul. Someone decided that the child died in childbirth, and all began to adhere to this version. The girl herself quickly got into the work process. At first she often thought, and whether she did the right thing, maybe it was necessary to agree to Alex's proposal, and sometimes come to her son. But each time, Angelina convinced herself that it would be better for everyone. Over time, these thoughts began to cross her mind less and less often. And 6 months later, a young man joined the company. At the first communication with Angelina, they had the feeling that they had known each other for many years. Over time, their communication grew into something more. Angelina even told him her story. But the man still did not reject her, but tried to understand. Soon they got married, and Angelina next to him feels absolutely happy. Since Catherine's moved to a new city, more than 2 years have passed. She proved herself well at work. The boss was very pleased with the appearance of such a specialist. The firm's business was booming, and it was decided to open a new branch. Establishing relations with some business partners from other cities, the head chose his hometown. Here he was offered the most favorable terms of cooperation and saw good prospects for development. The director had no doubts about the choice of an employee to set things up in the new branch. He called Catherine to him and described the whole situation. The girl had contradictory feelings. On the one hand, she missed her mother and native places, and on the other hand, she was afraid of those memories from which she had once fled. Catherine first tried to convince the head that she is not a suitable candidate because her work experience in the company is only a couple of years. But the director was firm in his intentions. He offered the girl very decent pay for the job, and she could not refuse. Saying goodbye to the landlady, Catherine promised to return and call her every day. But Alice felt that not everything will not be so simple, that Catherine is waiting for a difficult test at home, and she was not mistaken. Back in her hometown, Catherine immediately began to do business. And what was her surprise when she found out that their business partner is none other than Alex's father, and the guy himself is actively engaged in business relations of the firm. It should be noted that both of them were extremely surprised by this meeting, but for some reason they are very happy about it. After solving some business issues, Alex invited Catherine for lunch, and she gladly agreed. At lunch, the guy told her about his life, that now he is raising his son Max. But unfortunately, not everything goes as smoothly as we would like. Since birth, the boy was taken care of by a nanny. It was a very good girl and a professional in her work. But recently, she had to leave them and go to her native village to take care of her sick mother. Alex wanted to hire a new nanny, but Max doesn't come in contact with anyone else. In just a couple of months, Alex had to change 5 nannies, and one of them, as it turned out, even raised her hand on the baby. Alex's parents refused to help him, explaining that it was his choice and now it is his difficulties. However, they recognized the grandson and sometimes visited him. Catherine listened to Alex's story with horror. She felt very sorry for the little boy, who was not guilty of anything. Just he was unlucky with his mother. Having talked a little more, they went back to work. That's how the business day ran. Things were going well. The firm was ready to open, and Catherine realized that her work here will soon end. At some point, the girl suddenly realized that she was still attracted to Alex, but she chased away these feelings. But one day, Alex came to work with Max. He explained it by the fact that the next nanny refused him, and there was no time to find a new one. Catherine had never communicated with small children before, so she felt some embarrassment when the boy found himself in the same room with her. Little Max, on the contrary, showed interest in her. It was the first time in a long time that the boy had made contact with a stranger. She even managed to cheer him up, and by the end of the working day, Max followed Catherine with a little tail. Alex realized that he couldn't just let this girl go, because not for nothing his son trusted her. The business trip was coming to an end. In a week, she had to go back. She was very sad at heart. She had become very attached to little Maxka during this time, and it was very hard for her to part with Alex again. Now she realized that those long-forgotten feelings for this man had not gone away. She still loved him. The same could be said about Alex. The guy really wanted Catherine to stay with them, but he did not know how to ask her to do it and what he would do in case of refusal. Finally, when there were only 2 days left before leaving, he invited her to take a walk in the park with his son. The girl was glad of such a proposal and immediately agreed. All the way Alex thought how he could persuade Catherine to stay in the city. They walked and talked first about business in the new firm, then smoothly moved to a conversation about personal relationships. Catherine told him that in the city where she moved, her grandmother was waiting for her, who had become close and dear to her over the years. That's why she was glad to return there. Alex, listening to the girl's story, became more and more convinced that she had much more there, that she would hardly want to stay with them. But little Max had his own plans. All the while, the boy was running around Alex with Catherine. He was always talking about something, showing his daddy something, and talking in his childish language. Suddenly, a big dog ran up to him and started barking. Max was very frightened and rushed to Catherine. "Mommy, Mommy," cried the boy. Catherine pressed the baby to himself and gently stroked his head. "Do not be afraid, little one. She will not touch you. Now Daddy will chase away this evil dog." Max pressed harder and harder against Catherine, but now he was no longer crying. The girl said some gentle words to him and calmed him down as best she could. After a while, the boy calmed down and came down to the ground. But now he walked next to Catherine and held her hand tightly. Seeing this, Alex decided to start such a difficult for him conversation. "Catherine, I have a proposal to you," he hesitantly began. "Would you like to stay with us in this city? Max, for a long time, has not gone to anyone so much as to you. And I also really want you to stay with me." The girl was confused at this unexpected frankness. Of course, she felt that she and Alex had a special connection, but she didn't think that he would dare to make her an offer. "But I have a job and Alice will be all alone." Catherine realized that now it was not the most important thing, but she could not gather her thoughts. "I'm sorry, Catherine. Perhaps it was too straightforward, but I would not forgive myself if I did not try to talk to you about it. If you don't agree, I understand. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that." No, it's okay. It's just all so sudden. Give me time to think about it." That's when they went home. Catherine thought about their conversation the whole way, remembered everything that had happened between her and Alex. Only now she realized that her mother was right about everything, and she should not have meddled in her own business, so that now it was not so painful and bitter. She realized that her mother had always wished her nothing but the best. Now Catherine knew for sure that she wanted to talk to her mom about Alex's proposal. Entering the house, Catherine felt such a familiar and native smell of Mom's pancakes. The woman remembered that her daughter was leaving soon and wanted to please her with something special. "Mommy, how delicious it smells. I've been dreaming of your pancakes. I'm glad I made your dreams come true," smiled Mom. "Wash your hands and sit down to the table." At dinner, Catherine told her mom about what was bothering her so much right now. She told everything that had happened between her and Alex, then and why she had run away from this town. Told about the real child, which she had given up, and now Alex was raising a son by himself. Told how today little Max had called her mommy, running away from the dog. "Mom, and after that, Alex made me an offer to stay with him here. I don't know what to do." "What's your advice?" "Daughter, I've spent years telling you how to live your life, what to do and what not to do. But it's your life and only you can decide what you want. I will tell you only one thing. If you are not sure now that you want to leave everything as it is and go away, then you should stay and try to accept Alex's proposal. Otherwise, you will regret it all your life." Catherine thought about her mom's words all night and finally made a decision. In the morning, she called her boss at work and asked for the opportunity to stay to work in the new branch. As it turned out, he himself was very hopeful that the girl would want to stay in her hometown and take the post of head of the firm. After that, Catherine met with Alex and agreed to his proposal, but with one condition. They must go to Alice and take her to her. The guy was completely fine with it. The trip was planned for the next week. Catherine settled all the paperwork at work. Alice, after a short persuasion, agreed to leave with them because there was nothing to keep her here. Alex and Catherine decided not to organize a lavish wedding. Only the closest people were invited to the celebration. Only one person was not from among the relatives, was Lana. Catherine had not seen her friend for a long time, but she was always grateful for her help and support in her student years. Therefore, she could not help but call her to such a significant event in her life. As it turned out, Lana sometimes communicates with Angelina. She told Catherine that the girl has completely changed, became wise and responsible. Told that Angelina got married about a year ago, but she and her husband had difficulties conceiving a child. They both went to doctors who said there was no problem and what to do to help them. They didn't know. And now Angelina and her husband decided to take a baby from an orphanage and are now being trained in a special school. After the wedding, Catherine adopted little Max, and they began to live as a normal family. Alice moved to live in Alex's house and engaged with the baby while his parents worked. Mom also supported her daughter and often visited them, and neither of them regretted the decision. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Like it, write comments if you like the story, and see you on the channel.